Back in the early 90s, I was just a kid with a Sega Genesis hooked up to a bulky CRT TV in my living room. And let me tell you, the first time I popped Sonic the Hedgehog into that console, it felt like stepping into a whole new world. I'm taking you back to 1991, when this blue blur of a game changed everything for me and a generation of gamers. Today, I'm diving deep into the original Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Its gameplay, its levels, its music, and why it still holds up all these years later. Grab a chili dog and let's spin dash into it. I remember unboxing my Genesis and seeing that iconic black cartridge with Sonic's smirky face staring back at me. The game booted up with that unforgettable Sega jingle, and I was instantly hooked. The title screen hit me with Sonic tapping his foot impatiently, like he was daring me to press start. I did, and I was whisked into Green Hill Zone. Man, those bright green hills, checkered dirt paths, and looping loop-de-loops were unlike anything I'd ever seen. The Genesis's 16-bit graphics were a flex back then, palm trees swaying, water sparkling in the background, and Sonic himself with his red sneakers and that cocky attitude just screaming cool. I'd spent hours on my NES before this, but Sonic was next level. It wasn't just a game, it was a vibe. The controls were buttery smooth, and that's what made Sonic stand out. You could feel the speed. I'd hold down the D-pad and Sonic would zip through the stage, curling into a ball to smash badniks. Those little robot animals Dr. Robotnik sent out. The first time I hit a loop-de-loop, I legit shouted because I thought I'd messed up, but Sonic just zoomed through it like it was nothing. The physics were wild for the time. You could build momentum, bounce off springs, or skid to a stop if you weren't careful. I learned quick that mashing buttons wasn't gonna cut it. You had to time your jumps to avoid spikes, or those annoying crab bots that shot energy balls. I can't tell you how many times I got cocky, sped through a stage, and then BAM! Fell into a pit because I wasn't paying attention. Green Hill Zone was the perfect intro. It had 3 acts, each one teaching you a little more about how to play. By Act 3, you're dodging moving platforms and those spiky caterpillars, and then you hit the first boss, Robotnik in his egg-shaped hovercraft, dropping a wrecking ball. I remember panicking the first time, running back and forth, trying to figure out when to jump. It took me a few tries, but landing those 8 hits and watching him fly off felt so good. Collecting those golden rings was key too. You'd grab them up, and as long as you had at least one, you could take a hit without dying. But get hit, and those rings would scatter everywhere, and I'd scramble to grab at least a few before they vanished. That sound effect, ching ching ching, still lives rent-free in my head. After Green Hill, the game threw me into Marble Zone, and whoa, talk about a tone shift. The bright green swapped for underground ruins with lava pits and crushing pillars. I wasn't ready for how much slower this stage felt. You had to think more, time your movements, and avoid getting squashed. Those pushable blocks and swinging chains tested my patience. And don't get me started on the lava chases. I lost so many lives because I didn't move fast enough, and the music, man, that eerie, slower beat made it feel like I was in some ancient trap-filled temple. It was tough, but it taught me Sonic wasn't just about speed, it was about adapting. Springyard Zone was next, and this one was my jam. It felt like a carnival with all the bumpers, springs, and pinball mechanics. I loved bouncing around, racking up points, and trying to hit those monitors for extra rings or a shield. The platforms that moved up and down were tricky though. I fell more times than I'd like to admit. The boss here was Robotnik again, this time with a spiked platform that retracted 1 block at a time. I'd wait for my moment, jump in to hit him, and pray I didn't misjudge the timing. Beating him always felt like a victory lap, especially with that upbeat music pumping me up. Labyrinth Zone was where things got real. Water levels. Ugh. The second I saw Sonic dive underwater, I knew I was in for it. The bubbles you had to grab to avoid drowning. Pure stress. That countdown music when you're low on air still gives me anxiety. The stage was a maze of rising water, moving platforms, and those piranha bots. I died a lot here, no shame. The boss was Robotnik underwater, shooting lasers while the water level changed. It was chaos, but figuring out the pattern was so satisfying. I'd cheer every time I made it through that zone. Starlight Zone was a breath of fresh air after that. It was nighttime, with city lights and these awesome seesaw platforms that launched you into the air. The music was so chill, almost jazzy, and it made cruising through the stage feel effortless. I loved chaining loop-de-loops and hitting ramps to soar across gaps. The boss was easier here. Robotnik dropping bombs you could dodge pretty easily. It felt like the game was giving me a break before the final push. Final Zone was intense. No rings, just you and Robotnik in his crazy machine with pistons and electric orbs. The music was this urgent pounding track that made my heart race. I had to time my jumps perfectly to avoid getting crushed or zapped. It took me so many tries, but when I finally landed that last hit and saw Robotnik's machine blow up, I jumped off the couch. The ending, with Sonic running through a field and the credits rolling, was so rewarding. If you collected all the Chaos Emeralds in the special stages, those trippy rotating mazes you got to by grabbing 50 rings and jumping into a big ring at the end of a level, you'd get the good ending. I didn't manage that until years later, but man, it was worth it. The music in Sonic was unreal. Masato Nakamura from the J-pop band Dreams Come True composed it, and every track was a banger. Green Hill Zone's melody is iconic. You hear it, and you're instantly transported back. The sound effects too, like the Ring Collection or Sonic's Spin Dash, were so crisp. The Genesis's sound chip gave it this distinct punchy vibe that I still love. Why does Sonic the Hedgehog still matter? It wasn't just a game, it was Sega's answer to Mario, and it delivered. Sonic was fast, edgy, and had attitude. Everything Nintendo's plumber wasn't. The level design was genius, balancing speed with platforming, and the replay value was huge with those Chaos Emeralds and high scores to chase. I'd spend hours trying to beat my best time or find every secret path. It's a game that respects your skill, but doesn't hold your hand. Playing it now, it's still a blast. Sure, it's not perfect, some stages drag, and those water levels are still a pain, but it's a time capsule of the 90s. It's pure, unfiltered fun that reminds me why I fell in love with gaming. If you've never played it, grab an emulator or a Genesis Mini and give it a spin. Trust me, you'll see why Sonic became a legend. Thanks for watching, and if you love this dive into Sonic the Hedgehog, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your favorite zone in the comments. I'm outta here. See you at the next checkpoint.